Alrighty, so we have the markets rejecting as we speak. Sorry, guys, I'm extremely cold. I'm here in Switzerland, which is absolutely incredible, but it is very cold. So you can see I'm sitting in the hotel room, very warmly dressed. Hope you're all having a great time. I see markets have started to reject. I see that Bitcoin made its way to the 50 moving average. We were on our way to the 18,000. I think we're around 18,400, which we spoke about this being a critical level. Now, it's a level where we held really well of support for the last few weeks. We then dropped that, made the lows of 15,500. And then we started to make our way up to these zones. Now, we got two big ways here. Firstly, we had the 50 moving average, okay? And the 50 moving average on the 12-hour was something that was showing us bullish momentum. We had the cross of those lines, which I'll show you guys shortly. And ultimately, we're still holding the bullish momentum line. But ultimately, what we've been speaking about is the bulls have a selected amount of time left. And ultimately, we're going to make our way to the next zone. And the next zone is a 50 moving average on the daily. And we hit it, we broke it, and we closed below it when the stock market rejected hard. Now we have the options closing today, and ultimately we are seeing the stock market getting rejected pretty hard. Now we have two different charts. We have a Bitcoin chart that's been doing this over the past few weeks, and we have a stock market chart that's been doing this. Ultimately, we did have the slight decoupling. We've always been speaking about the decoupling, and we did for a while. And what happened was we got the 50 basis points. Things were seeming really good, and then the stock market obviously rejected pretty hard. Now, what I do like about obviously, we don't like the rejection of Bitcoin and the 50 moving. And I'm going to speak about where is the major supports in order to know that, are we going to make the new lows? Are we going to capitulate? But I like that this is not a crypto only sort of attack or FUD just on the crypto market. Though that's usually what's been the massive exaggeration and the big dumps in the market with the FTX crash. This is the stock market clearly pulling back right now. And because the stock market's pulling back, we're having a crypto pullback. So this isn't necessarily fully focused on crypto, and crypto is not just dumping because there's something bad happening in the space. It is the stock markets. So guys, what I'm going to do here is I am sitting in a hotel room, so I'm going to go through, I only have one screen, so I'm going to go through the important levels for Bitcoin, what we're seeing for the rest of the year, ultimately where is major supports, and what will create capitulation. From what zone do we lose and all of a sudden we start to get massive rejection. And obviously, what is the bullish scenarios and where does the stock market go? The Dixie has not broken trend to the upside yet, and neither has the 10-year yield. But if they do, this does mean that the stock market can come down another 10 to 20%. So no more wasting time. Josh, push a button. Let's get into the show and let's hit it.
Click, click. Have you heard the news? What? With his finger on the pulse, it's like Sheldon knew. Click, click. When the sniper shoots, we got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. So enter the sniper, click, click, click. Time to be dedicated, sniper mode is activated. Explosions in the market are in target, and Sheldon demonstrates. Mirror, mirror on the wall, Master Sheldon tell us all. We got Sheldon on the chart, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. Enter the sniper, click, click. Enter the sniper.
Yo, Banter fam. I know the market's not great. I see my internet's not 100% too. But I hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm currently on holiday. My mother has always wanted a snow Christmas. We are here in Switzerland. We're doing the whole Christmas market vibes. And then I'm in, please correct me. I'm in Montreal. I'm used to saying with the L, but it's not L, so please tell me if I'm saying it right. And after this, we're going to Zermatt, and then we are going skiing, and we're on all the mountains. And even though this has been a terrible year of crypto, crypto has given me the opportunity to take my family on a big vacation like this, which we've never been able to do before. So I want to inspire you yet again to not quit in this space. Stay fighting, stay hard, because it will reward you at some point, and it will reward you big. My whole family even flew business class. Guys, no one in my family's ever done that. My whole family has just done it. So for me, it's a really incredible personal achievement. And I just want to say again, guys, don't quit, keep going and keep pushing throughout all of it. Hope you're all having a great day. Remember to smash the subscribe, smash the like button, and let's get into the charts. So the first one, guys, Dow Jones. We're going to speak about the S&P because the S&P is obviously looking a lot weaker right now than the Dow. But end of the day, what we did get from the Dow Jones is we did end up getting, quite a good amount of progression to the upside. The bulls were doing pretty well over there. And this is probably our last, when it comes to stock markets, sort of views. This is probably our last chance for the bulls to hold the level and to continue this momentum to the upside. The S&P is showing a slightly different chart, which I'll jump into now shortly. But ultimately, this chart showed that we did reclaim a higher high view, and we do have the 50 daily moving average, and that's basically sitting at the support trend line that we just broken through. So as we are seeing a pullback. We're not surprised to see a pullback from the stock markets at some point. It did get a nice little push up when we got the 50 basis points. Things were looking good for the last 2-3 days. And then we did decide to pull back. And ultimately, what we just want to see here is we want to see a very small pullback. We want to see us hold critical levels and ultimately not break back into these ranges. Now, reason being why we don't want to break into these ranges is because if you do look at the S&P, which I'll get to now for you guys over here. Only one screen. Here we go. So this is obviously not looking as great. Now, S&P, we have to have a look at this chart. We did have this major trend, and I think Kyle Dupes did speak about it earlier, that this is not a good rejection. We do have the 50 MA on the daily, though, which has always been a pretty good support zone. Not so much recently on the stock market, but for crypto, it's a really great indicator. And ultimately, we have one support and one more support in the area, and it's basically just showing around the 3,800 mark that this is last support, because if things do turn over here, it's a very clear lower high, and ultimately this will indicate a lower low, and that can take us down to way lower levels. Now, where can that take us? This for me probably highlights a lot on where, if things turn really bearish throughout these times, that this probably looks like an area would go test. And if we had to look at percentage wise on where that would basically take us from where we are now, it's a 12% down in the S&P, which is huge. It is a really big move. And I don't know if that will break the lows of Bitcoin. I think I can take it near, but maybe it does. And if Bitcoin does break the lows, which I'll go through shortly, capitulation is still possibly on the cards. But for me, in order for a capitulation or something like that, I need a crypto catalyst too. We saw the crypto market dump pretty hard in the last 2-3 weeks. Why? Because the whole FTX, there was a big reason on why it did that. And ultimately, if we are going to capitulate and Bitcoin's going to make the lower lows and finally go test the 14 or 12K, which I do think is going to happen. I didn't think that it would happen right now. I think, we knew it could come, and we knew as soon as we invalidate the previous lows, it's definitely a possibility. But ultimately, for me, a nice little rally up for 2-3 months and then depression next year is sort of what makes sense emotionally, because things to just keep dropping like this, it just seems that we're still getting caught up in that trap. And I know a lot of people are like, bearish, this is a bull trap. Like, it works for a while, but as I said previously, the market will turn at some point and destroy all of those that continue to stay in the negative mindset, while the lower mindset, it's very similar to being bullish at the 60K level last year. Those soon all got trapped out. So obviously this, yes, if we do hold this, and the Dow chart is the one that makes sense to me on this pullback, because we're looking at why we're pulling back right now and why is it working pretty hard to the downside. And the Dow showing that a pullback was needed, but ultimately a small pullback. Hold these levels, hold the 50, and basically we have RSIs that are resetting. So we got stock market the stock RSI that's resetting, and what it basically means is a hard drop first, then we go sideways for a few days, and then possibly a slow grind to the upside. So stock market's very clear on why the crypto market is currently looking like this for the day. And then we have another chart, which is the dominance. And the dominance we can see very clearly is in Bitcoin territory. All eyes on Bitcoin right now. And this is where the big thing has come, guys. I spoke about it 2-3 days ago in my last show, that getting out of the market for me is a very difficult spot, because it's going to be pretty hard if the market capitulates or breaks through a critical area to get back into the market. But for me, it was very simple. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum. There's time for altcoins. We saw the altcoins are lagging a lot right now. Nothing Bitcoin, everything is Bitcoin right now. We can see, even if the market's pumping or it's dumping right now, the Bitcoin dominance is only but going up. So it's just showing holding Bitcoin, holding ETH right now is probably the best and strongest thing to be doing. Yes, you can focus on this chart if you want to. Obviously, it is a concern for us that the USDT dominance is breaking a bull flag to the upside. This is the all-time high, and it just means, people are getting into USDT, getting into the crypto dollar. But ultimately, for me, it's still not falling into that trap of a token that's been doing this. All we see is up, 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 versus a token that's been going down. So I do agree. So remember, if you are selling your crypto and you are, getting into USDT, you are buying a coin that's been doing this. So if you're cool with that and you understand that, that's cool. But for me, I'm clearly focused on a token that's been doing that, for a while, the Bitcoin chart. Let's actually speak about Bitcoin, and I'm going to go through the shorter time frames first, and then we can start going through the rest of the market. So right now, very clear Bitcoin time. So what happened? Ultimately, we had Bitcoin spike up, and it went to the 18.4. Now, what was that level, and why did we get rejected there? This was the level that we held for a very long time. It was an area that when we first made the low of 17.8, it was an area we kept bouncing, remember this time, for a few weeks, ultimately waiting for the next push up, and we finally lost it. And what it basically means is this was a very important floor for Bitcoin. And as soon as you lost the floor, it becomes the ceiling. It now becomes a level where you have to break through again. And remember, the way crypto works is basically just these levels. So if you lose this, people are buying up on support on areas where we're seeing strength. As soon as that's lost, it now becomes a selling point. It now becomes an area of where to offload. And I spoke about this 2-3 weeks ago about 18K being an offload zone. Being an area where if we go up to go test that, it might be a perfect place to turn your altcoins into Bitcoin and turn a lot of your coins, protect yourself at these points, because this is going to be a very clear area of offload. Now, does this mean that that was it? Okay, you need to remember something. Bitcoin lost a lot of traction when it lost these areas, and it is going to be hard to fight these zones. These two levels are way more, it's going to be a lot harder to get through these two levels than these higher levels up here. For me, when we up back at levels of 21, 23, I think we're going to breeze through these areas again. I think these are the two major areas, because this is where bears are going to try hold and continue the strong momentum to the downside. So what we're seeing on shorter time frames is we did see a really strong rejection candle on the 12-hour, and ultimately what we have is two more major supports. And ultimately, if we lose these supports, prepare yourself for capitulation. Now, the first one is the 618, which is around the 16.5, and this still falls beautifully into place with our moving average, which I'll quickly add in over here. Remember, guys, add in these moving averages because they are very powerful right now, and they're really working well. So we'll make this the 50, and we'll make this a different color. This goes pink. There we go. And as you can see, it's exactly where we had a short temporary little bounce this morning, but ultimately it's showing that that is the area. So anywhere between the 16.5 and the 16.8 is an important support zone. We have one more, possibly the 786. I would say this is a weaker one, not too strong if we do go there. And what we have over here is also these previous highs at the 618, which is support. Now, if you had to look at this as a normal pattern, this is tanking now because stock markets are getting pulled down quite a bit right now. I don't really understand or see a major crypto catalyst. But if you had to look at it as a normal charting sort of view and, a normal price action, this is a wave up. And if we do have a retracement here, it can still make another wave up to the upside. So it's not a crazy, shorter time frame bearish, sort of view just yet, unless we do lose the 618 and we do lose those supports, because on the higher time frame, we can see that Bitcoin, let's jump through on the daily. Here's the daily over here. As we can see on the Bitcoin chart on the daily, that this, yes, is a bearish pattern. This one on a slightly higher time frame where we have an uprise wedge like this, it is a bearish pattern. And if we do lose these major area supports on the higher time frame, is definitely giving us indications for the lower areas, if not new actual lows. So the way that I'm looking at it is I'm firstly enjoying my holiday, and I would probably say to you guys all, just enjoy your time right now and get a little bit of rest. I think next year is going to be a crazy year of pushing together. It's going to be another long year, hopefully a great one. I do think bull runs 2024, but I think next year is slow grind, 1 or 2 shakeouts along the way, but a slow growth back to recovery, very similar to the time where we had the March crash. Remember the March crash of 2020, where the market literally dropped like, I think 50% in one day. It took us about 3 months just to get back to those areas, like a slow grind with these quick little shakeouts. And then the gains only came after, 3, 4, 5 months. Then the market only started to move. And it's the same thing that I'm basically seeing here, that yes, we may capitulate, which I'll go through now shortly. But ultimately, if Bitcoin just keeps fighting like this and the slow ground, this is what the market does when it's just been through a really bad patch or really strong push to the downside. So on the short time frame, I'm just keeping an eye. I'm not going anywhere shorter than 8 or 4 hour right now. Enjoy your December, guys. But focus on the 12-hour daily and the weekly. And the 12-hour, for the remaining of this week, we want to hold at least the 16.5. We hold the 16.5 because the stock market looks like it's going to probably come down more. If we hold that level and we just go sideways for the rest of December, we're still okay for a nice little strong push to the upside. If we do hold these, don't be surprised as well if at any point, maybe next week or something like that, that we do actually have a positive reaction and we go and test. I think we're going to test this area multiple of times, and I think we're going to get rejected multiple times. I think we're going to keep going up to the 18.4 to the 19,000. And I think we're going to get rejected. And I think we're going to get rejected. And we're going to just keep fighting it until eventually we break through. And it's the same thing that here, this previous support, it kept fighting it, kept hitting it. And then it eventually broke through. And it's sort of the similar thing. This is a big wall, guys. For me, there's more shorts and more bearishness here than the higher levels up here. And remember, it's always going to be, they're always going to try protect it as close as possible, the bears. After that, volume is needed to get through. Let me have a sip of something here. Volume is needed to get through these areas. Once you are through these critical areas, you don't need much volume to get through the rest of the actual zones. Let's look quickly at Dixie. Important chart, especially now on the smaller time frames. If you look at Dixie, we have that 50 MA and it is getting a slight bounce right now, but no major breaks to the upside. If you have a look at the trend line, we have not broken that trend line. This is a small little push to the upside, and I'd be using this 50 MA as an indication on when we'll get a serious move. If we do get this Dixie to push back up to these levels, and this trend line will indicate that will definitely indicate that stock market having that 10 to 12% retracement to the downside, which could take Bitcoin to lower range, if not capitulate. So the Dixie. Now, this is still the big one, guys, the massive one that we got to pay attention to, which is the total 3, excluding Bitcoin and ETH. Right now, for me, majority, 90% of my portfolio, Bitcoin, ETH. I'm actually going to my Sniper straight after this and being like, what else can we protect? Just for now, because if the market pumps at any point, dominance is going up. ETH dominance is going up. So those tokens will be the outperformers. They'll be doing well. But if we lose this again, guys, the total 3, we're back at the danger zone again. And look how close we are to this low. And this is indicating all altcoins, other than Bitcoin and ETH, the next support is 35 to 40% away. So if we do decide to capitulate and Bitcoin decides to lose the low, altcoins are going to get murdered. I'm telling you guys, protect yourself, protect yourself, protect yourself with any altcoins right now. And we're seeing it on a lot of you can clearly see on the crypto bubbles how the altcoins, are hurting. Now, if the market does turn bullish at any point, let's get back. There's time to get into the altcoins. There's time. So, protecting yourself, it's up to you if you want to make the decision of getting out of the market into USDT again. For me personally, I'm not. I think it's ridiculous for me to get into a coin that's been going up and up and up for the last, few months. But ultimately, the rest, guys, protect yourself. Bitcoin, ETH, these make sense. Because if we do capitulate, like I said previously, I think there's huge buy orders that are sitting in these areas. I think there's huge buy orders sitting between 10 and 14K for Bitcoin. I think if we go to those zones, I think we're gonna we sit there for a few days, maybe, but I think we're gonna bounce so hard at some point. It's gonna be crazy. I really do think. I see I'm getting tons of messages here. I do think we're gonna bounce extremely hard. Let's see if we got any other indicators here. ETH. I was speaking about ETH. ETH slightly going against Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin is looking a little bit stronger than ETH as we speak. But for me, that ETH dominance chart and that ETH the ETH dominance and the ETH to Bitcoin, was a very high time frame view, and I'm still very happy with Bitcoin and ETH when it comes down to those actual two. So, guys, what I am doing is I am going to attempt to be doing shows now over the next 2 days. So I'll be here tomorrow, and I'll probably be a Sunday. I'll let you guys know either tomorrow or Sunday, so we can see where we are. We have to just take it now day by day for the next 2-3 days, just so that we hold the higher time frame views. If we hold the higher time frame views, then we can focus on what's next. Where can we look to explode next? For now, Bitcoin and Ethereum, for me, is the safest assets. Capitulation, anything like that, they're the safest assets for me. I would protect as many altcoins as I can just at this level, because if it drops, it's going to drop extremely hard and extremely fast. To get out of the market is just tricky, because if you don't get back in, then you're going to be really upset. What happens if you get out at now at 16K and Bitcoin goes to 12K, and then it's back at 18K in like a week or even a day? Capitulations before, they get quite wild and pretty quick to downside, and then you never got your buys, and all of that was for nothing, and you don't want to make that for nothing. So, guys, I'm gonna go spend some time with the family. I will be here. Follow me on Twitter, guys. I'm going to be doing lots of stuff on Twitter. Have a fantastic holiday, guys. Like, for me, I'm with my family. We're achieving something really cool here. We're in the snow. We're doing stuff we never thought we would do before. So I want you to not give up, not quit. And I'm here, guys. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all on the next show. Much love, Ant fam. Much love.